So I just watched yesterday El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, and I really enjoyed it. Now, though I will not be spoiling anything that happens in El Camino, I will be spoiling the end of Breaking Bad because otherwise there's no context for this movie. So at the end of Breaking Bad, Jesse gets away. He's driving away in the car, and he's speeding. He's laughing like a maniac, like crazed. You know, he's been living like months of his life inside of this cage, and I mean, like, he's free. Like, Walter White is dead, Heisenberg is dead, and he's free. But it's also sort of like, I mean, not for nothing, it does kind of beg the question, like, yeah, but how good of a life is this guy gonna lead? Like, how screwed up is he from the stuff that happened to him, you know? And I mean, you're happy enough just in the mystery of seeing him get away, and it's surprising how interesting it was really just kind of seeing a wrap-up for that character. You know, you thought that was enough of a wrap-up, but the way the story is told, Vince Gilligan wrote and directed it, and it's, I mean, honest to godly, it felt like an episode of Breaking Bad. This man is a brilliant writer, okay? He knows what he's doing. He would never half-ass anything. I don't think he has it in him to produce a work that he's not sure of. It felt like an episode of Breaking Bad, and that's so welcome, you know, because really that was, to me, Breaking Bad was like the best TV show ever. I'm not necessarily saying it's my favorite TV show ever, but it's the best TV show ever, in my opinion. Sort of like Linkin Park is my favorite band, but to me, personally, the Beatles is the best band that has ever been. I mean, you can't compare Linkin Park and the Beatles. One is far superior to the other. You know, it's just a matter of personal preference. I like this sloppy stuff, but I respect the art of this. Breaking Bad was a masterpiece show. You could tell that Vince Gilligan knew where it was going. He ended it where he wanted to end it. He didn't let the network talk him into extending it for like 3 seasons so that it got drawn out and boring. Every moment of that show was riveting. And the fact that, you know, several years later, I mean, Breaking Bad, I believe the last season was in 2013, something like that. So it's been a good 6 years. And I'm amazed at how he was able to keep that same feel. I really liked Badger and Skinny Pete. I loved getting to see them again because they add like a much needed kind of like levity to the show. It's funny because you look at Jesse Pinkman and you look at Badger and you look at, you know, guys like that, and it kind of screws with your morals a little bit because, you know, you almost have to like sit down and remind yourself, like, these are the bad guys. Like, these are not good people. I mean, you feel bad for Badger and Skinny Pete because they're dumb, but God knows how much drugs they've dealed. God knows how many lives they've ruined. These are not good dudes. But it's easy to forget that, you know? And when you see how much at the beginning of El Camino they really put into trying to help Jesse, you really kind of feel for that. You're like, wow, that's a really solid friendship. Those guys are really good friends. They're terrible people, but they're really good friends. And there's just all this shit that popped up, like characters from the show. There were a lot of surprising flashbacks. You get to see Tom again, which I love because the actor that played him, there's a reason why they selected him for that episode of Black Mirror, where it's like the Star Trek game thing. Anyways, there's a reason they picked him for that, okay? Because he played such a good, hateable, maniacal, evil, sociopathic bastard in Breaking Bad. And he dies, you know, at the end of the show. So it's cool to see him come back. Honest to godly, the only thing that didn't really fit, and even then, I wouldn't say that it didn't really fit. It wasn't like the prequel trilogy where like they were doing these flashbacks and it didn't meld well. No, it meshed perfectly. I fully believe that all the stuff they showed in El Camino could have happened in between the Breaking Bad series. The only thing is the guy who plays Todd is a little fatter. Like he's a little bit more portly, you know, like me. I didn't used to have this beer gut, but it exists now. I mean, it's been 6 years, so it's like I wouldn't hold it against the guy. But I mean, really, that's like the only, if you want to call that a continuity, I mean, I wouldn't, you know. But if you wanted to nitpick, you could say that. But honest to godly, the movie is great. It's very suspenseful. It's very intelligent. You get to see how well Jesse really functions on his own without Walter White. And all details aside, I will say I am perfectly satisfied with the ending. The thing that I liked about El Camino is it didn't try to outdo Breaking Bad. It didn't try to do like, you know, how are we gonna, you know, add this last chapter that's gonna be the epic conclusion. No, 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 no. It's not supposed to be the epic conclusion to Breaking Bad. It's just supposed to stand on its own. It's just a wrap-up for Jesse Pinkman's character. A wrap-up that, frankly, I didn't think that we needed. I didn't think would have been necessary. I mean, really, technically, didn't have to exist, but I'm glad that it does. It doesn't ruin anything about the show. If you were a fan of the show, there's like a bajillion cameos from people who were in the show. I guarantee you'll love it. You know, it's a really good movie. It's available on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, you must know a friend who has Netflix. Like, make an evening of it and sit down and watch this. Anyways, guys, El Camino, really cool. Check it out. And that's all she wrote.